Toxic love rarely announces itself. It doesn't arrive with warning labels. It often arrives dressed as intensity, passion, or just loves me so much. But love that harms does not start as harm. It starts as confusion. If you find yourself constantly explaining him to yourself, constantly shrinking a little so he stays, constantly losing your voice just to keep the relationship alive, then what you are experiencing is not love. It is attachment mixed with fear. Real love expands you. Toxic love contracts you. Let's talk about 5 signs that what you are calling love is actually something that is hurting you. Sign 1, his love makes you feel unsafe instead of grounded. Toxic love is felt first in the body, long before the mind catches up. You notice it in the way your chest tightens when you see his name light up your phone. You notice it in the way your breath shortens before a conversation, as if your body already anticipates that something will go wrong. Love is supposed to be the place where you come home to yourself, but instead you find yourself bracing, preparing, calculating. You are not relaxed in his presence. You are vigilant. You start predicting his moods like weather patterns. You learn the tone of his hey, and already know if the evening will be peaceful or walking on invisible shards. You replay past conversations, not because they were beautiful, but because you are trying to figure out where you made the mistake that caused the last explosion, the last withdrawal, the last cold silence. You begin to live in self-doubt. You ask yourself, did I say too much? Did I not say enough? Was I too emotional, too distant, too honest? Real love makes you more alive. This kind of love makes you more anxious. You do not notice the moment safety leaves. It is subtle. At first, it is only during arguments. Then it is during honest conversations. Then it is when you express your needs. And finally, it is there even in the quiet moments, like a background hum of tension. Your nervous system is no longer resting. It is watching, it is listening, it is preparing. You begin to confuse adrenaline for passion, instability for chemistry. You tell yourself, this must be love because it feels so intense. But your body knows the truth. You are not grounded. You are surviving. You start shrinking in small, almost invisible ways. You laugh a little less freely because you don't know how he will interpret it. You choose your words like stepping stones across a river, terrified that one wrong step will send everything crashing. You silence your tears because they make things worse. You become careful instead of honest, accommodating instead of authentic. The price of honesty begins to feel higher than the price of self-betrayal. And so you betray yourself again and again, just to avoid the next storm. Love is meant to be where you exhale, but with him you are always inhaling, holding, waiting for the mood to shift, waiting for the tone to harden, waiting for the punishment of distance, the sarcastic comment, the sudden withdrawal of warmth. Even when he is kind, you can't relax into it. You don't trust the moment because you've learned it can vanish without warning. So you don't rest, you hover, you stay alert, you stay small. This is not your weakness. This is your nervous system adapting. Somewhere in your story, you learn that love is unpredictable, that closeness comes with danger, that affection can flip into rejection without explanation. Being on edge became a way to stay safe. You are not broken for feeling unsafe. You are responding exactly as anyone would when love becomes a place of emotional threat instead of emotional shelter. The deepest tragedy of unsafe love is that you begin to believe the lie that this is what love is supposed to feel like. But love is not supposed to make you afraid of speaking. It is not supposed to make your stomach twist at the sound of a message notification. It is not supposed to make you rehearse versions of yourself just to be acceptable. Love is not supposed to be a battlefield disguised as a relationship. There is a different kind of love, not louder, not more dramatic, but steadier. In that love, your shoulders drop, your voice returns, your laughter comes back without effort. You stop scanning the room for emotional danger. You feel rooted in your own skin instead of floating outside yourself, monitoring everything. Safety is not boring. Safety is peace. Safety is clarity. Safety is the ground beneath your feet saying, you are allowed to be exactly who you are. If you feel unsafe in love, trust that feeling. It is not overreaction. It is your inner truth trying to protect you. Your body has been speaking in the language of tight chests, trembling hands, sleepless nights, and constant overthinking. It has been saying, this is not home. And you deserve love that not like a place you are always trying to survive. Saign 20, he confuses intensity with intimacy. There is a kind of love that doesn't grow, it burns. It arrives suddenly, overwhelming, all-consuming. He wants all of you right away. He wants your time, your attention, your loyalty before trust has even had a chance to be built. It feels powerful, intoxicating, like you have finally been chosen. You mistake the rush for depth. You tell yourself, no one has ever felt this strongly about me before. But intensity is not intimacy. Intensity is urgency. Intimacy is presence. He calls constantly, not because he is curious about your inner world, but because he is afraid of losing access to you. He asks you to prove your love quickly, pushes for emotional declarations, dramatic promises, rapid closeness. It feels like a movie. Tears, apologies, big gestures, fiery reunions after fights. Your nervous system gets addicted to the highs and lows. Calm starts to feel empty. Stability feels suspicious. You begin to believe that love must be dramatic to be real. True intimacy is quiet. It is built slowly through honesty, safety, shared reality. It grows like roots, not fireworks. But when he confuses intensity with intimacy, you never get to grow roots. You only get explosions. He wants to merge, not to know you. He wants possession, not connection. He wants access to your heart without doing the work of earning your trust. And because the emotional roller coaster is so loud, you don't notice that he rarely asks, who are you really? He asks instead, are you mine? Intensity pulls you out of yourself. You stop listening to your doubts because the emotions are so strong. You move faster than your boundaries. You say yes before checking whether you are safe. The speed becomes the seduction. If you try to slow down, he fears it. He worries that slowing down means losing control, losing you, losing the rush. So everything must stay heightened, the arguments, the reconciliations, the passion, even the pain. Intimacy is different. Intimacy allows space. It allows silence. It allows two separate people to exist. Intensity wants to devour space. It wants everything now. It mistakes closeness for control, attention for attunement, obsession for love. When he confuses intensity with intimacy, he may say, I can't live without you, but what he really means is, I can't regulate myself without you. That is not love, that is dependence disguised as devotion. You notice how often your connection feels like being pulled rather than being met. You are swept into deep conversations too soon, confessions too soon, plans too soon. The relationship is always at a 10, never a calm 5. You rarely feel steady, you feel swept away. Your body reacts with adrenaline, not peace. It feels addictive, but addictions always promise connection while stealing self-connection at the same time. Ask yourself, when was the last time he simply sat with your feelings without trying to intensify them? When was the last time he really listened, not reacted? When was the last time the relationship felt like breathing, not drowning? Real intimacy does not rush. It does not demand you collapse your boundaries to prove your love. It does not require chaos to feel alive. Real intimacy says, we have time. Intensity says, hurry or I'll disappear. If you have mistaken intensity for intimacy, it is not because you are foolish, because at some point in your life, chaos was paired with love. Unpredictability felt familiar. Your nervous system learned that emotional storms meant you mattered. So now calm feels foreign, and gentleness feels unreal. But love is not meant to consume you. It is meant to meet you. You deserve a connection that grows rather than burns, that deepens rather than overwhelms, that makes you feel seen rather than claimed. You deserve a love that is not a rush, but a resting place, not a fire that scorches, but a warmth that stays. Saijin, through your needs are turned into burdens. There is a quiet kind of heartbreak that doesn't come from being yelled at, but from being made to feel like you ask for too much simply by having needs. In the beginning, you may have spoken freely. You asked for reassurance, clarity, time, presence. These are not luxuries, these are basic nutrients of connection. But slowly, the messages began to arrive, not in words alone, but in sighs, eye rolls, silences. Every time you reached out, you felt the temperature in the room drop. You learned, without anyone saying it directly, that your needs are inconvenient. You start to edit yourself. You rehearse conversations in your head to make your feelings sound smaller, lighter, easier to digest. You apologize before you even speak. You say, sorry, this is stupid, but, or, I know I'm being dramatic, but. You place your own heart on trial before you dare to offer it. You are not trying to create drama. You are trying to avoid being seen as the problem. Somewhere along the way, you accepted a painful belief. It is safer to carry your pain alone than to risk being shamed for having it. When your needs are turned into burdens, you begin to disappear from your own relationship. You stop mentioning when you're hurt because it will start something. You stop asking for support because it will stress him out. You swallow your disappointment, your loneliness, your longing, and then call it understanding. You convince yourself that being low maintenance makes you lovable. You don't realize you're teaching your nervous system that love means self-abandonment. He may not shout. He may not even accuse. Sometimes he simply goes cold. He withdraws, goes distant, becomes irritated or sarcastic, and the message becomes perfectly clear. If you want closeness, don't need too much. If you want peace, stay quiet. If you want love, stay small. So you start doing emotional math. How much of myself can I express before it costs me connection? Love that treats your needs as burdens trains you to feel guilty for being human. You start believing that wanting consistency is clingy, wanting honesty is overreacting, wanting presence is needy, but these are not flaws. These are signals of a heart wired for connection. A child doesn't feel ashamed for needing comfort. They reach for it freely. Shame is learned later, when reaching was met with rejection. The saddest part is how quickly you begin to turn against yourself. Instead of asking why he can't meet you, you ask why you're so much. Instead of noticing the lack of emotional availability, you diagnose yourself as broken. Your inner voice becomes a replica of his dismissiveness. Why are you like this? Why can't you just be okay? You become both the one who is hurting and the one who is blaming the hurt. But your needs are not heavy. They are honest. They are invitations to be known. In a healthy love, your feelings don't get in the way of the relationship, they guide it. Your tears are not inconveniences, they are signals. Your vulnerability is not a burden, it is a bridge. Someone who is capable of real intimacy doesn't shame you for needing closeness. They move toward you because of it. If you have been taught that your needs are too much, understand this. It was never about the size of your needs. It was about the limits of the other person's capacity. Some people cannot sit with emotions not theirs, not yours. They call your needs burdens because they don't know how to meet them. That is their wound, not your flaw. Your healing begins the moment you stop apologizing for your emotional life. The moment you say, my needs are valid even if you cannot meet them. The moment you realize that love is not proven by how little you ask for, but by how safely you can show up as your whole self. You are not too much. You are just with someone who could offer too little. This IGN forcing. He controls through withdrawal, blame, or subtle punishment. Control is not always loud. It is not always shouting rules or obvious demands. Sometimes it arrives quietly, wrapped in silence, distance, or disappointment. You begin to notice that when you do something he doesn't like, he doesn't necessarily argue. He withdraws, he becomes cold, distant, less available. Stops text back, his tone shifts, his warmth disappears. And without him ever saying the words, the message lands deep inside you. If you don't behave the way he wants, you will lose connection. This is control through absence. The punishment isn't a raised voice, it is emotional starvation. You start trying to win back the version of him who was loving, attentive, affectionate. You apologize just to end the coldness, even when you didn't do anything wrong. You become focused on getting him back to normal, and in the process, you stop asking whether normal was ever healthy to begin with. Blame becomes another tool. Whenever there is conflict, somehow it circles back to you. He forgets plans, you're too demanding. He hurts you, you're too sensitive. He withdraws, you're overthinking. Slowly, the ground under your feet shifts, reality bends. You begin doubting your own perception. You start asking yourself, did I really cause this? Is it actually my fault? You find yourself explaining and defending your feelings as if you are on trial in your own relationship. Subtle punishment can be even more confusing because it hides under everyday behavior. The jokes with a sharp edge, the sighs, the sarcastic comments that sting but are brushed off as you're taking it too seriously. The slight change in tone when you say no. The way his mood drops when you assert a boundary. You feel it immediately, warmth goes away. Approval is withdrawn. Love becomes conditional, given when you comply and withheld when you don't. Over time, you begin to anticipate the punishment before it even happens. You give up friendships because drama. You stop wearing something because it starts arguments. You avoid certain topics because they ruin the mood. You begin to shape yourself into the person who will trigger him the least. This is not compromise. This is erasure. It is the slow, painful training of your nervous system to prioritize his comfort over your truth. What makes this kind of control so powerful is that it entangles love with fear. You don't stay because you feel safe. You stay because you're afraid of losing the little moments of closeness he sometimes gives. The cycle becomes addictive: withdrawal, anxiety, reconciliation, relief. Each reconciliation feels like proof that the relationship is real, when in truth it is proof that you are being conditioned. None of this means you are weak. Your brain is responding exactly as a human brain does when love is mixed with unpredictability. It tries to fix, appease, adjust, understand. It thinks, if I can just do better, he will stop pulling away. If I just don't upset him, things will be good again. But control cannot be healed by compliance. The problem was never your inability to behave. The problem is his need to dominate the emotional climate of the relationship. Real love does not train you through fear. It does not make you afraid of speaking, needing, disagreeing, or being yourself. Real love doesn't punish, it communicates. It doesn't withdraw to win, it stays present to understand. In healthy connection, you can disappoint someone, set a boundary, say no, or express hurt, and the relationship still feels like safe ground. If you recognize yourself constantly trying not to set him off, constantly monitoring his moods, constantly working to prevent withdrawal or blame, then your nervous system is telling you something important. It is not saying you are broken. It is saying you are living in a pattern where love is used as leverage. You deserve a love where closeness is not conditional, where connection is not currency, where you do not have to earn basic warmth by shrinking, pleasing, or staying silent. You deserve a love that does not punish you for being exactly who you are. Saijian Faifi, you keep losing yourself while trying to keep him. There comes a moment, sometimes quiet and sometimes devastating, when you realize you are no longer living your life, you are living a strategy to keep him. You measure your words, your laughter, your dreams, not by what feels true to you, but by what will keep the relationship intact. Bit by bit, parts of you fall away, not all at once, not dramatically, just slowly, like pages being torn from a book when no one is looking. You remember the person you were before. You had opinions, edges, preferences, a sense of self that felt solid. Now you find yourself saying, it's fine, whatever you want, even when it isn't fine. You stop doing small things you loved because problems. You silence your instincts and call it compromise. You swallow your boundaries and call it love. You don't even notice how often you abandon yourself because the fear of losing him feels more threatening than losing yourself. You start making yourself smaller in subtle ways. You avoid shining too brightly because it might trigger his insecurity. You avoid asking for too much because it might overwhelm him. You avoid being fully yourself because you've learned that parts of you are difficult, emotional, too intense. So you begin editing your personality like a script, cutting scenes that are real but inconvenient. You become the version of you most likely to be tolerated, and the cost is that you are no longer truly there. Your world narrows around him. Your thoughts revolve around his moods, his needs, his reactions. You replay arguments, scan messages for hidden meanings, wait for his tone to tell you whether today is safe or fragile. You start neglecting your friendships, your passions, your goals, not because you don't care about them, but because all your energy is going toward maintaining emotional stability with him. You are exhausted, not from loving, but from managing. The tragedy is that you think this is devotion. You tell yourself, this is what strong love looks like, showing up no matter what, staying no matter how hard it is. But true love does not require you to disappear. When love is healthy, you become more yourself, not less. Your voice gets louder, not quieter. Your life expands instead of shrinking into the shape of another person. Losing yourself never happens because you are weak. It happens because somewhere in your history, you learned that attachment keeps you safe and abandonment hurts too much to risk. So you learn to hold on tightly. Even when your hands start bleeding, you learn to adjust, to accommodate, to become whatever keeps love from leaving. Your nervous system is trying to protect you, not betray you. But there is a grief that comes when you look in the mirror and realize you no longer recognize who is looking back. You feel like a guest in your own life. You laugh and it doesn't feel like your laughter. You say, it's okay. When it isn't, you stay. But the person who is staying is a faded version of the one who once wanted a full, honest life. Keeping someone who requires you to lose yourself is not love. It is self-abandonment in the name of connection. And the painful truth is this: a relationship that cannot hold the real, you can only ever love the mask, not the person beneath it. The turning point is not loud. It is a quiet realization. You miss yourself. You miss your own company. You miss the parts of you that were honest, alive, unafraid to take up space. You begin to understand that the price of keeping him has been the slow disappearance of your own soul from your own life. And you deserve better than vanishing to be loved. You deserve a love where you don't have to perform, where you don't have to negotiate your worth, where you don't have to trade authenticity for proximity. You deserve to be chosen without having to disappear. One day, your healing will not begin with letting him go. It will begin with choosing yourself. If any of this feels painfully familiar, remember this: you did not choose toxicity. You chose love with the tools you had, with the history you carry, with the wounds you never deserved. But your nervous system has been trying to tell you the truth. Your tears have been trying to speak. Your body has been whispering, this hurts. The opposite of toxic love is not another relationship. It is your return to yourself. Choose the life where you don't have to beg to be safe. Choose the love where you don't have to vanish to be kept. Choose the path where your heart is not a battlefield, but a home. You are not asking for too much. You are simply loving someone who could not give enough.